Every night at 9 p.m., at the end of a hospital corridor, an elderly man walks toward an empty room. The nurses all know there's nobody in that room, but no one stops him. Tonight, I'll tell you why. Memorial Hospital, Boston, 7th floor. Nurse Maria Rodriguez has worked here for 30 years. She's seen thousands of patients, but none quite like this man. His name is Robert Chen. He's 76 years old. 5 years ago, his wife Margaret was admitted here. Stage 4 cancer. Doctors gave her 6 months. She fought for 2 more years. For those 2 years, Robert never missed a single day. Rain or shine, blizzard or heat wave, he arrived at 8 a.m. and left at 10 p.m. every single day. Margaret passed 3 years ago. It was spring. Cherry blossoms were just beginning to bloom. Everyone thought Robert would stop coming, that he'd grieve, heal, and move on with his life. But something incredible happened. Robert kept coming back, first once a week, then 3 times a week, then every single day. At first, everyone worried. Was he unable to let go? Was he depressed? Nurse Maria gently asked him about it. Robert smiled and said, "Don't worry, I'm okay. I just like being where she was. And besides, I have work to do here." Work? Robert started cleaning the hospital corridors, not because he had to. He swept floors, wiped windows, cleaned bathrooms. The hospital tried to stop him. "You don't have to do this. This is our job." But Robert insisted. "Please, just let me. This brings me comfort." But here's what matters. Robert didn't just clean. He started talking to patients, especially elderly patients who were alone, whose families couldn't visit often. It started with simple greetings. "Hello, how are you feeling today?" But the conversations grew longer. Patients started waiting for him. One elderly patient said,
"When he visits, my whole day changes. My son can only come once a week because he's busy, but Mr. Chen comes every day. He's like family."
Robert listened to their stories, their complaints, their pain, their fears. He just nodded, held their hands, laughed with them. Sometimes he cried with them too. There was a man in his 40s, diagnosed with terminal cancer. He pretended to be strong in front of his family, but collapsed when alone. Robert sat beside him and said, "My wife was the same. She acted brave for our family, but cried only with me. It's okay to cry. When you need to cry, you should cry." That patient cried in Robert's arms for a long time, and after that, he started to brighten. He became honest with his family and spent his remaining time more meaningfully. This kept happening. Robert became the hospital's unofficial counselor. Even doctors and nurses came to respect what he was doing. One day, the hospital director came to Robert with a plaque of appreciation. But Robert refused it. "I haven't done anything special. I just talked to people." The director asked, "Why do you do this? Isn't it exhausting?" Robert thought for a moment, then answered, "When my wife was sick, so many people helped us. Nurses, doctors, other families. I realized the hospital isn't just a place for treatment, it's where people comfort and help each other. And after my wife passed, I understood. It was my turn to give back that warmth I received. I think that's what Margaret would have wanted. Nurse Maria cried when she heard this. She shared his story with other staff. Soon, the entire hospital knew about Robert. But here's the key. Robert's influence didn't just affect patients. Young nurses started to change. One nurse said, "Watching Robert made me remember why I wanted to become a nurse, to help people. But somewhere along the way, I'd just been doing tasks." Now, nurses make time for conversations, even just 5 minutes to listen to a patient's story. Robert had planted seeds throughout the hospital. Doctors changed too. A young resident said Robert taught him something more important than medical knowledge: empathy. Patients began helping each other, one patient assisting another with mobility issues, someone reading books to a bored patient. The 7th floor became completely different. What was once quiet and depressing now echoed with laughter. Still difficult, but filled with warmth. And every night at 9 p.m., Robert goes to his wife's empty room. He opens the door, sits in the chair, stays for 30 minutes, then leaves. Nurses asked him, "What do you do in there?" Robert smiled. "I tell Margaret about my day, who I met, what we talked about. I think she'd be happy to hear it." One day, a patient asked, "Isn't it hard coming here every day?" Robert shook his head. "Not at all. This place gives me energy. Talking with people, helping each other, that's my healing. Turning grief into something beautiful. People can't live alone. We need to support, help, and comfort each other, especially in hard times. I learned that here."